So for AWS, there are pros and cons when dealing with Amazon Web Services, especially with this cloud computing technologies. So AWS offers more than 5 times the computation capacity in use compared to aggregate to the other 14 leading market providers, which means when compared to Azure or Google Cloud, the computation capacity is like more than 5 times when we have services hosted within the Amazon Web Services. With hundreds of thousands of customers operating every possible use case of AWS in over 190 countries. So there are millions of clients that are using Amazon Web Services when we are dealing with it's Uber, Netflix, I mean, you name it, what all applications what we are using on a daily basis that have some kind of backend within the Amazon Web Services. Thousands of independent software vendors such as SAP, Oracle, Adobe, Microsoft, etc., are also using Amazon Web Services. Oracle is not the Oracle Cloud. It have its own softwares being available within the Amazon Web Services that we need to pay for the license to get purchased. And next, the Amazon Web Services currently supports over 2,000 government agencies and 5,000 educational institutions. So a government agency is something different from what we used to deal with it normally, because for government agencies and for government entities, right, the process of dealing with the data and with the compliance is totally different. They can't use on a shared model. What we are using on the cloud is a shared model. So on that kind of usages, government agencies and other educational institutions, also the medical science field, are also using a different kind of cloud section. And that were the pros of the AWS, and let's talk about the cons. Sometimes it's difficult learning curve for large companies. So here's the situation, right? There's been a big institution that's been depending on the on-prem for a very long time, and there's a time they have settled that they need to move on to AWS. Switching from on-prem to AWS is going to be a big change. It's going to be a big technical change as well. So the people who are dealing with this on-prem might not be much familiar with these cloud services. In that scenario, the companies can't hire a lot bunch of new people that knows the AWS services, right? That's going to be a huge financial burden for them. In that situation, they used to hire a specific small team with small members, and they used to train the employees. But in that situation, is for the new ones who are trying to take these old technologies and all services to grasp and learn within a short period of time, that's going to be a difficult learning curve for large companies to move on to cloud. So that's why most of the companies, how they used to proceed with cloud is like they used to move it part by part. For example, they will go with the least used applications. Once everything is moved to cloud, they will go with a highly used application. And the billing can be confusing. Sometimes there will be billings that, as I mentioned, there sometimes will be of free and sometimes it won't be of free. So the billing can be confusing. There are easy to limits that I mentioned. Sometimes there are limits for resources that we can launch within a section. In that scenario, we need to contact the AWS support. I need to take it from there. So that's an easy to limits issue. And there are some other common cloud computing problems, because all this cloud computing, they are being provided by a backend vendor. Recently, Akamai have an outage, and that affected the CDN network for Amazon, and that caused millions of loss on their customers. So that kind of problems can happen in this cloud computing section.